Hey, we got to get the Midwest vibe today for my guest. Yeah. What happened to Murphy Lee? What happened to Murphy Lee? Murphy Lee had to be the best in the Lunatics to me. I can't play too much, but y'all know how I go. Y'all know the feds be watching. Yeah. Murphy Lee was on his way. Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Pod is Good podcast. I am your man, Cashmere, California. Pod is good. And all the time. If you know, you know. If you don't, you about to find out today. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. I appreciate everybody for being here today. I appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoyed the last show. Episode 12 was a phenomenal show, talking to my man James, the investment shark. You know, if you did listen, I know you got some game. I know you got some direction, how to implement some new strategies depending on where you at. Even if you're young and you're just starting your investment life, if you didn't get a chance, listen to it. It's trying to make you rich by the time you're 40. And with the right discipline, anybody, truthfully, can actually get there. So if you didn't check that episode out today, I got another incredible episode. Um, you know, a lot of times, especially for the people who move away from home, right? Move away from their families to go venture out to find themselves, to gain whatever they're looking for in life. You tend to unintentionally distance yourself from your family. You don't mean to do it, but just your day-to-day life is more consumed with, the next client or your coworkers or your classmates or your neighbors, the new friends that you made. You just kind of build a new life basically away from your home city, especially those of us that grew up in smaller towns, you know what I mean? And so with that, you don't realize it after a while, but there's a distance between you and your actual family. My blood family, most of them are like 2,000 miles away. I have a few people here in California. I had more, but over the years, as we all grew up and people moved out on their own, the distance grew. But 2,000 miles away, even in the day of the internet, when everybody has kids and families and lives and careers and businesses, you just don't get a chance to talk to your family as often as you would like to. So I'm saying all that because today I get to do that. Today I get to bring in one of my favorite family members. No, if anybody else in my family is listening, don't take offense to that. But this just happens to be someone that I've been around since she was very young. I was very young. I watched her grow up. I supported her through trials and tribulations of her life, and we've dealt with so many growing pains throughout the years that now to look at her now, it almost feels like it's my daughter, and I'm looking at her and the level that she's achieved. It's incredible. She's incredible. And I know this will be an incredible episode simply because she's going to be here. So as we wait for her to get into the studio, as we always do, we want to, be patient with our guests, make sure our guests are, um, are comfortable. I don't want anybody flustered or rushing. I like people to get here at a time that's most convenient for them. And in the meantime, I want to tell you guys that if you enjoyed, what episodes was he on? I believe it was episode 1, and maybe again episode like 4 or 5, maybe 5. My guy, South Central Conservative. South Central Conservative. Got to say it loud so hopefully he hears me. I, I want to make sure he gets the I want to make sure he gets the official welcome. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that when the bat signal goes up, that he hears it. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna take a quick one just to make sure something that I hear wasn't what I heard. You know how that go. All right, we back. So as I was saying, South Central Conservative will be coming back. Me and him talked recently, and we discussed that our next installment of the show, we will actually take time to research and have factual materials to support those findings, so that the conversation can have a little more structure than it did last time. Because it as in if any of you have had any conversations with someone who is very politically active, as many Americans are nowadays, you will know that the conversations can go off on a litany of routes. I mean, the branches never stop, and you will end a conversation after 2 hours feeling like we didn't get to the bottom of anything. We just kind of, you know, reached in the grab bag and just threw out stuff and slung it at each other for a couple of hours. And I want to make sure that us getting down to the truth of any political belief on this channel actually is grounded with facts and grounded with research that you all can even go back and look into to corroborate and things of that nature. So the next time South Central Conservative is here on Pod is Good, we will make sure we do that. I hope you guys follow along. I know the last episode we did with him was very long, but I got a lot of response for that episode, and a lot of you felt like that's the way it should be. Very organic, dig into it, and try to find an answer, try to find the truth. We went to the Cornell Law School website and read all the laws based around a president being able to um, unseal documents or classified documents, declassification, the whole process. And it was great because both of us learned a lot in that. So keep your eye out for that episode. It's coming soon. Maybe I'll get him here by around episode 16 or 17. However, as I was stating earlier about family and how family, you oftentimes find yourself a little further away from family when you've left a small town to venture out on your own. And it is a great moment when you're finally able to get back with your people. Nobody knows you like your people. Even if they ain't been around you in a long time, just still nobody knows you. Nobody can bring up that thing that you did when you was like 8, or that way that you used to be when you was like 12. Like, people don't know you like that. Most of the people in your circle, especially if you moved to some big city, most of the people in your circle can only talk to you from a 10-year standpoint, 5 years, and that's it. That's the depth that they have with you. But your family is different. So as I said, I'm bringing in one of my favorite, again, the rest of the family, don't get offended, but one of my favorite family members on the planet, Ancestry.com ain't changed that. She is here. She is beautiful, lovely, intelligent, incredible in every sense of the word. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you my cousin, Dr. Nikki Smith.
Hi, cousin.
Hey, doctor, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am good. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you as
So happy
well.
to see
Happy
you.
to be here.
Thank you for joining. So I got to tell you how we introduce everybody, not introduce, how we greet, right? So I'm gonna say Pod is good. And just like if I said God is good, what would you say?
All the time.
And all the time. So instead of God is good, we say pot is good. So pot is good,
All the time.
and all the time.
Pot is good.
Booyah. That's it. That's it.
Love it.
Oh, so yeah, I was talking about, I was saying like, you were my favorite little cousin, and I kept thinking, I said like, I hope nobody else gets offended. Cause you know how family can be.
Well, I don't think that. I think of all your cousins,
Hmm.
people gotta know that I'm one of your favorites. They gotta know me and you. We locked in.
Right,
We
right,
locked
right,
in. So if they see you, they see me. Even
right.
if we all way 900 miles away, they know we here.
There you
So
go.
if
You're
you
right.
offended, I'm sorry, family. I love you.
There you go. It's like we ain't unlocked no secrets today. They been knew that. They knew
Yeah,
that at the last
yeah,
family reunion. They knew that.
yeah. You know that was.
So everybody, this is actually my cousin. This is my blood family, Dr. Nikki Smith.
Yeah.
Um, and I got to make that point because our culture, our community, we call everybody cousin, uncle, auntie. My son just asked me the other day. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Uncle Mike," and he was like uncle in our family, uncle, and I'm like, I get it. That's starting to be because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do it out of respect. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right,
People that
right.
are close
Mhm.
to you, hey, that's your uncle. You know what I'm saying? You don't
Yeah.
call him. You too close to call him Mister,
Right, right,
but
right,
but out of
right.
respect, you don't just call him his first name.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
very
wa- I
important.
wonder what other cultures do. How do they give that
I
respect?
don't know because even on the internet, I have friends who have kids who
Mhm.
actually don't live in St. Louis. They live all over. But you see people's kids growing up. You see, and I feel like them TT babies. They're all y'all my kids. I ain't even met some of these kids, but I've seen them grow up because of social media.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, you definitely feel that connection for sure.
Right. Absolutely. I wonder like if there's a term that, maybe an Indian culture or an African culture that people use for those tweeners. You know what I mean? Like they're
Mhm.
not some distant person at the market. When you see Mr. Jones at the market, they get the good peaches in the back. That's just Mr. Jones.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but when you see, Uncle Cecil,
yeah,
that's your uncle. He
yeah,
ain't
yeah.
he ain't a relative, but I known him since the military.
Exactly,
You call
exactly.
that
If you need something, he got you. That's all.
Hey, Uncle Cecil been there since I was in the bunker back in the
Yeah.
war. You go talk to Uncle Cecil, he'll take care of you.
Love it, love it. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so even though I know a great deal about you, let's
Hmm.
get people kind of acquainted with who you are. Um, Tell them a little bit about your background.
Where do you start with things like that? So a background, one of the first things people ask is, "Are you a medical doctor?" No, I'm not. Sorry. So if you are having a medical emergency, please call 911. I am not the person to help you. I don't know anything about delivering medical care. My PhD is in business. Okay.
There you go. So let everybody know right now. She's somewhere between medical doctor and Dr. Dre. It's like like
What's interesting? A lot of people don't know that the term doctor was designated for people with PhDs in academia. It wasn't
mm,
referred to as someone with a medical certification. So actually, the original doctors are people in academia. But anyway,
wow, but that's interesting to know. I don't know if most people
a
knew
lot of
that.
people don't know. So I had this. It was like a whole thing. I literally had someone tell me I wasn't a real doctor, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" I worked real hard for this. Blood, sweat, and tears. What are you talking
I need
about?
some money back. If I'm not a real doctor, I need at least 40% of that
I mean,
tuition
look,
back.
you see, they ain't relieving those student loan debt. I got a lot of it. Okay.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So anyway, yeah. So my doctorate is in business model innovation. A lot of my I mean, when I think about who I am, I love arts, I love music, I love theater, I love poetry, which I love to write. I have an appreciation for art. Miss Nina Simone, as you see here, specifically Black culture. So I would consider myself absolutely a hood feminist.
There you go. There you
Um,
go.
absolutely an advocate for all things Black culture. And so, I'm an auntie, I'm a big sister,
All of that.
a daughter, all of that. So, yeah.
Let's touch on the poetry because there was a time.
Yeah.
There was a time that I was, listening to you. This was around high school. This was you in high school, long before a PhD.
Long before.
Long before you were still learning
Long
about
before
pH
we.
balancing.
Yeah, long
Long
before.
before
Yeah.
Miss, sorry, Doctor. The doctor used to write poetry.
Yeah. The
And
doctor
now,
used to
now, now does the doctor still write poetry?
I don't. But so one of the things I am published, but more so for articles. So I'll get reached out to by a magazine or someone, specifically like in St. Louis, we have a lot of local publications like the St. Louis Black Pages, other thing, Riverfront Times, other publications, and they'll ask me to write an article.
Hmm.
So I do that a lot now. I've been published about 10 times. Let me
Wow,
actually,
I don't know if I knew that.
I'm sorry, I'm on my work computer, so I need to put myself on Do Not Disturb. I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry.
Um,
Don't worry about it.
but yeah, so, and I don't write poetry anymore, but it was my first love. I really had an affinity towards like the written word and just, making things, painting a picture and telling a story really creatively with words, was really something I was into, and I used to perform
Yeah.
poetry and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
But I mean, my preference honestly has always been to write. Um, and yeah, I needed an outlet. I've gone through some trauma. Okay.
We're gonna get
Some
into it. Yeah.
trauma. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
really just needed an outlet, something that was safe and not what everyone else was doing, which was, all kinds of things. I was getting in all kind of trouble, all kind of stuff. But I really wanted to do something that was creative. And like I said, I had an appreciation for the arts. And so I used to, my favorite author is James Baldwin, and the way that he would just
Woo.
color a story together and just be so prolific with his words.
Yeah.
It was like profound yet simple, and like all the way he used to just package it together. Him and Richard Wright was another favorite of mine. And so I just Nikki Giovanni. I just love the way in which you can
Mm,
convey and evoke emotion
absolutely. Yeah.
purely through this is what's on this paper. And so that was something that I was really into. And I mean, I go listen now for sure. I don't perform anymore, but I certainly still have an appreciation for it.
That's what's up. To the chat real quick. My man Jay Militant said he's tapping in. What's going
Yeah.
on, James? I
How
mean,
can how can people get on here and watch live? How are
so it's broadcasting right now
okay?
on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
Okay,
Right? Cashmere, California, all of those. And then after this, it will also be in the days to come on Apple Podcast and on Spotify.
got it, got it. Okay.
Um, Jay Militant also said that James Baldwin is the truth. Man, do I agree.
Yes, yes,
Man,
yes.
do I agree. I was just talking about him in an episode recently. It's like I was saying, if you care anything about, you don't even have to care about black people, right? Even though
Mm-hmm.
that's obviously a big part of the core of his content, right? If you just care about the conditions of humanity,
Mm-hmm.
America,
Mm-hmm.
the interaction with each other, the
Mm-hmm.
complexities of different races and how history has affected how we see each other. If you just kind of
Mm-hmm.
want to a broad but introspective view
Yeah,
of
yeah,
all of that, man,
yeah.
there's
And
nobody
you
better.
don't even got to pick up one of his books. You can go on YouTube, watch a speech, watch all his
Exactly.
debates.
Ooh,
And he
yes.
was globally known. And
Yeah.
just the experience of Black folks, even internationally, and specifically with him. being a queer black man and navigating those spaces too. And
Yeah.
then, the book, there was a series, I Am Not Your Negro, and it was a package that he had put together, but told a lot about the work of Malcolm X, his friendship with Malcolm X, his friendship with Dr. Martin Luther King, and kind of the different schools of thought, but
Yeah.
how they both are very similar, not even knowing it, and he knew it
He knew it. Right.
before
Right.
they knew it. So
Right.
navigating all that. But yeah, he asked, was I Fairfield High? Nope. I am a St. Louis girl.
Saying raised in the Midwest.
Oh,
You didn't
Midwest
hear it.
thing. I'm
I
a
st-
St. Louis shawty. Okay.
hey, I started the show. I started the show with Murphy Lee playing in the background.
Okay.
I
I should
told
have
him
been my
how,
chicken head.
I told him we had to get it. We had to get in the right vibe. We got to get in that
Yes.
Midwest vibe this morning.
Yes, yeah, Murphy Lee. I actually
Yeah.
just watched a video on Instagram,
Uh,
talking about need to give him his flowers, man. He was just like
man,
feature king in the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
man.
He was on
I,
everything.
yeah, I definitely thought Murphy was gonna be
Yeah,
that guy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, because Nelly was good, but Murphy had something that Nelly didn't. But the thing that Nelly had,
Hmm.
Murphy didn't. And the
Yeah,
thing that Nelly had was sex appeal.
yeah, yeah,
And that you just can't buy that.
yeah.
There's a
The
difference.
ladies was like, Nelly,
Come on.
yep.
Come on. So no matter what Murphy did, it was gonna be hard to get over that hump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah,
Jay Militant says shout out to the STL. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we're doing poetry with great inspiration that you got from the right people.
Mhm,
Um and so you continue to grow, right?
mhm,
And you get
mhm.
into let's jump into your college life.
Yeah,
So so like you said, you've dealt with a lot of things in your life. Uh Poetry was an outlet,
yeah,
and then you go to college, and
yeah.
college brings on a whole new slew of things to deal with, whether it be jobs and
Mhm.
homework, but still family and apartment or responsibility, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So did poetry stop in college, or did it blossom a little more? How
Actually,
did it affect it?
it stopped. So I'll give you a little bit of kind of how it went. So it, it was such a struggle. I was one of those kids that was I planned my whole life ahead of me. I took my ACTs, my standardized testing, my sophomore year, and kept taking it until I get a higher score until I was satisfied with that.
Yeah.
4.3 GPA because I was taking all college AP classes and all that stuff. Graduated top 10 and got accepted to every school that I had applied to, but I was broke. I was so poor. I had
You
no money. Okay.
y'all gonna pay for this? Y'all
I
gonna pay for
literally,
this?
both of my parents went to college, okay,
All
but
right.
it was $0 for me to go. So,
Um,
that changes your priorities. So I'm
yeah,
working at Jack in the Box, I'm working at Dairy Queen,
grinding.
making them tacos
There you go.
and blizzards and all of that. I was literally working at Jack in the Box, and I would walk over to next door to Dairy Queen and work another 8 hours there. Like, trying to
Whoa,
save up money, right? So
crazy.
the hustle can't spell hustle without
Without
STL.
STL, you putting in
You
that
gotta
work.
figure it out, right? And so there was no money, and so all these schools, right? I got accepted to them, Howard and TCU and UCLA, and there was no money, and so I had to go to school local my freshman year here. Went to a private university. It was predominantly white institution, and it was very, very white in that this was a year Obama was running for president. So that's
Hmm.
important to note because my experience was because of that,
Yeah.
dealing with kind of a more rural area, going to a predominantly white school, Obama running for president. You can imagine the posters that I see in the hallways, okay? Monkey posters, all of this, all of that. And
Crazy.
it was, and I went to an all black high school, so this is new for me. I had not been in an environment yet where I was the minority.
Mm,
Certainly, I had internships and been in programs, and I had been in the workforce dealing with folks, but I had not yet been in a situation where I had to navigate such racism and that was in my face. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
you can imagine things like I couldn't where someone probably would have leaned into an outlet like poetry. I'm like, look, I'm just trying to keep my head above water,
I'm
trying to
trying to
stay
get through it.
trying to get through it. And I
Yeah.
was so miserable. I was so miserable. And this was my freshman year. And so it is Nina in my background. Someone asked it in the chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I definitely. I saw him say it. I'm gonna wait till she get done to bring it out. He caught it. He caught it. Yeah, Jay caught it.
and he knows because that's my man. So, and then
Oh, that
I
was Jeffrey. Oh, Jeffrey. That's okay. Jeffrey, I saw you. I think you. Yeah. So I'm glad he's watching now. He was
yeah.
doing something different before, so I was
Oh
seeing him
yeah. I
on
gave him the
here.
wrong link. I gave him the wrong link.
Yeah,
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 my
yeah. All
bad.
good. All good. Okay. Continue.
So then I called my Uncle Wayne, and my Uncle
Mm,
Wayne in Texas. And I said, Uncle Wayne, I'm so sad all the time. I'm miserable. I'm barely making it to class. I'm just not happy here. He said, come to Texas, baby. So I go check it
Shout out to
out.
Uncle Wayne.
Shout out to Uncle Wayne,
Shout out to
right?
Uncle Wayne. Yeah.
I go check it out, and he's like, "You use my address, get in-state tuition, all the things.
Mm,
Like we gonna figure it out. Just come on."
fire.
And I went down and checked it out, and it was a huge school. It's like 45,000 students, big school, big Texas school, right? 20
Yeah.
minutes from Dallas. Loved it. And they had a Chick-fil-A on campus. I'm like, I go
Oh,
here
oh, we
now.
in. Oh, we in here. Sign me up. Sign me all the way up.
Oh, they have the cafeteria. I can
Well, where
believe
the papers at? Well, somebody got the papers? Where the papers?
But the very next semester, in January 2009, me and my granny got in my little Ford Explorer. We drove 9 hours to Texas, and that's where I went. Best decision I ever made. Best decision I ever made.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I actually used to attend poetry. That's kind of like how I got to know people was that they would have like these like spoken word things happening
Mm,
around campus. Because I'm like, where the black people at? And they were there. I mean, my school was huge. They had a very, very diverse. And so that's how I started meeting people. Now, I met them because of the mutual love that we shared, but I was not, at that point, I'm like, I don't really want to perform a whole bunch anymore and stuff like that. So they kind of took a back seat at that point,
gotcha.
but got back into it when I moved back to St. Louis after college.
It's so interesting. The last 3 episodes that we've had, there was a foundation of art in the early part of the person's life that allowed them to kind of meet and get out and connect, and
Yeah.
then through that channel then they kind of realized where they wanted to go.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's so crazy to hear us kind of go through the same exact process with you. It's like, yeah, you didn't keep it. I'm pretty sure poetry is still close to your heart,
Yeah.
but it turned into this vehicle that
Mhm.
probably allowed you to be maybe even a little more social than you would have been
Mhm.
without it, in a new place, in a new school, all those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then I pledged, the following. I was in the pageant and met people, and then I pledged Theta, and I was having the time
You
of
was doing it. Yo, hold on. I know this ain't drink champs. I ain't know it, but give it up to a young black lady for grinding, working hard. You're doing your thing. You're doing your thing.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire. Okay, so now you in it. You live in
Yeah.
the life. Like,
Yeah.
now college life for everybody's a little different. Some people thrive in it. Some people completely get dwarfed by it,
Yeah.
and and depending on how you deal with it, you come out on the other side. Or either way you deal with it, you will come out on the other side a different person,
Yeah.
right? Going through it and coming out of it, how did you do? It sounds like you did great. On the
Yeah.
other side of it, you know what I mean? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, so I still was the same ambitious person. So you can imagine I did all the internships. I had a whole bunch of corporate experience by the time I graduated. Every summer I was coming to St. Louis to do an internship for some company. I got into a program called Inroads. Small plug there. If you were a black person or person of color who is in college and looking for paid internships with real corporate experience go through Inroads, and they train you how to teach you how to interview, teach you how to write a resume.
Wow.
It's like literally like corporate boot camp that you go through before they even place you at a corporation, one of
Nice.
their partners. And they have big companies. Like at that point, it was like Boeing, Xerox, uh, a bunch of AT&T was real big back
Yeah.
then. Those sorts of companies that they'll place you with, and I was cool because I was every summer I was getting paid. At that point, I'm let's say 19, 20, making $21 an hour. I was like, look at me, I'm rich. I ain't
You was you was
broke no
you was at Chick-fil-A every other day. Like
more. Hey, matter of fact, give me two more chicken nuggets added on. And throw one of the brownies in there too.
right.
But I was
That's
like, yo,
oh, and so spell the organization, spell it.
Inroads, Inroads.
And
Inroads.
is Inroads. And is that only in St.
No,
Louis? Are they
nationwide. Nationwide.
nationwide?
Mm-hmm.
Inroads.
All
That's
over. Yeah.
fire.
They've been around for a long time. I would say easily 25 years or so. But yeah. So anyway, had this
Yeah.
corporate experience, had a job before I graduated. So day after graduation, driving back to St. Louis. And I had learned so much about myself because I was truly by myself. Like, of course, I
Mm,
had Uncle Wayne down there, to guide and support. But eventually, I think I stayed with Uncle Wayne in my first semester, and then I moved closer to campus, which is an hour away from him.
hmm.
And I really understood what it meant to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
In a new space, in Texas, when the only other person I know is my uncle, and making new friends, a whole new circle. And so it pushes you, it challenges you in a way that you probably don't expect. And it's easier to do at that point in life because you're meeting people who are on campus, who are also college students. You have that in common at least. And
Right.
then you have all these different backgrounds and where people were from. Like I have friends from Nigeria and friends from Ghana and all over the world. One of my roommates was from Japan. So it was really, really cool in that regard. And then, I moved back to St. Louis, and now you have to reconcile the new you with all your high
Mm.
school friends now, right?
Oh, you so you smarty arty now. Okay. Okay. Oh, so you know everything.
Right,
Oh, now
right.
you got friends from Ghana.
Remarry.
You got friends from Ghana. Okay.
Right. And so, you're trying to one, stay connected to the relationships that you built
Right.
while also reconnecting with your old, because these used to be my dogs. And so now
Absolutely.
it's like coming back into that new environment, coming back into St. Louis and not letting it would be very easy to let that kind of determine, like, you just gonna kind of not do anything, not really push yourself because now you're already feeling like you're doing better than everybody else around you. So what
Right.
I need to work super hard for.
Right. You can get
Um,
complacent.
right. And it's easy to do that. And so that's why, I had to be intentional about reaching out to Urban League young professionals and other different types of groups around St. Louis to get around the type of folks who also were just as ambitious, just as driven, had a lot of the same goals in mind. So yeah.
That is a gem. That is a gem. Anybody listening, no matter what age you are, no matter where you are in your trajectory of life, that is a gem. Get
Yeah.
around the people that have a similar drive, a similar idea of life, similar motivation. I mean, just having the proper energy around you at any given time is a difference of night and day.
Yeah.
Night
Yeah.
and day. Because you're right, it is very easy to be complacent when you're the top dog in the room. You making more money
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
everybody else in the room.
and that's what it was. I've come out of college and had a pretty good offer right out of school, and all of that. And so it could have been easy, but I had a vision in mind of what I wanted my life to look like,
Yeah.
and so just trusting God and trusting that vision, and like, all right, this grind don't stop just because the college is over. I'm back in school now. We're getting a master's degree.
Right.
So,
Right. That's right.
got
Right.
two things at the same
So
time.
most people just trying to get through high school, right? They don't even want just let me get through high school. And
Yeah,
then you have the next group of people that's like, you know what? I'm gonna do college. I have to. I've been either because of my parents or my teachers or my mentors. Everybody's telling me I need to do it, whether I know
yeah,
why or not. I'm gonna just do it, and they just trying to get through. And I'm pretty sure at one point you were in that place of like, "Whoo, I'm just trying to get across
yeah.
this finish line."
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
somehow you
Yeah.
not only crossed the finish line, you literally crossed it and then started a new race
Yeah, I'm doing it all over again.
and then did it again
And did it again.
and did it again. So
Crazy, right?
that's crazy. So what was that? What was that motivation? What did you keep at the end of your your goals journey that
Yeah.
carrot dangling at the end? What did you keep there to keep the energy and the focus and the drive so alive all that time?
You know, one of the things that I know to be true is that God has a purpose for my life.
Mm.
And matter of fact, my name Nicole means the people's victory, and it's Greek. And I
Wow.
had always saw myself as a champion, as an advocate, as a community servant. And in order to do what I want to do out in the world, I wanted to be sure that I set myself up foundationally for the education I needed, for the relationships I needed, for networking, the skills that I needed, in order to fulfill whatever this purpose was that God had for me. And so
Hmm.
that was the carrot. It was this
Wow.
unrelentless desire to say, I done been through some things that young girls and young women should not have to go through.
Yeah.
And I have been through some experiences that, people with two parents and all the things that you think should be in place should not have to go through or whatever.
Yeah.
And because of, but I made it on the other side. And the only other reason I can imagine, especially considering, some of the traumas and things, is because there is a purpose
Mm.
and there is a divine one at that. So I have to be diligent. I have to be relentless. I have to be focused in delivering that. And when you know who you belong to, you know what it is. So I had
You
to.
see it?
That kept me motivated and like I
Yeah.
can't mess around. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I can't mess around. I can't be playing around. I gotta kick it for a little bit,
Right,
y'all. But
right. I mean, you gotta
I
enjoy it a
over
little.
here because
You
life
gotta
is
do your
really
thing a little bit.
yeah.
Right. That is incredible. So you get back on
Yeah.
the horse multiple times,
Yeah.
and you get it. You finally
Yeah,
devour the carrot.
yeah, I was getting my master's, was an entrepreneur, running a advertising agency for a little bit while I was getting both my master's degrees and fighting with lupus and all those things, and that stuff was hard. Took a break for a long time,
Hmm.
and then decided to go back and get my doctorate because I'm like, my long term goal was to be a collegiate professor. Let's just knock it out right now while I got the time. I still don't got no money, but I got the time now. No, but and have been blessed, in terms of my career trajectory, and my career really skyrocketed very early on. So I have been blessed in that I've been in certain situations and opportunities that young Black women don't get at that stage in their career. And so, yeah.
So before we get into your corporate life,
Hmm.
I have to ask Dr. Nikki if you were talking to the 12, 13-year-old you or
Yeah.
the 12, 13-year-old girl that's out there listening, wondering, man, is it still worth it? Some people say
Hmm.
college ain't for everybody. Some people say I should be entrepreneur. Maybe I should just work in my uncle's business. just overall, as far as a principle that you
Yeah.
would give that person, what would you tell them?
I would say know your why. Because if you know the purpose behind it, what you're doing, and you have passion and heart in what you're doing, regardless of what it is, you're going to be successful. And however you define success, that's different for everybody also, right? And so whether it's entrepreneurship, don't just say I want to have a business because I don't want to work for nobody. That's not
Mm,
passion, that's not purpose. You just don't want to work for nobody. But
mm,
when you're a real business owner, you work for somebody. So, but say I have such a special skill, I have such special ideas, I have such a special product that I want to get this out into the world. And by any means necessary, I'm gonna stand behind it because it is from my heart. I believe this is my purpose to deliver this thing out into the world. Now that may be through a corporation and through your regular job, 9 to 5 job. You may still be able to accomplish that, and you can accomplish that through entrepreneurship, or you can do both. I do both. I have a 9 to 5 job, and I have a business that I do consulting on the side as well. And so I don't think that people feel like you have to pick a lane and stay in the lane, and that's just not true. You can choose whatever path you want to go through, and you can zigzag that thing. You ain't got to stay on it and just climb this corporate ladder, or just do this entrepreneurship thing and you feel like you failed or you're defeated because your business didn't work out or whatever. It just was what it was, and that's an experience that you had, and that's valuable to you. But if you know your why, you're gonna find a way, either through delivering whatever the mechanism is that you deliver that thing. It's still gonna be just as powerful because there's passion behind it, there's heart behind it, and there's love behind it.
bars. Oh my gosh. Bars. Drop the mic, Doc. Drop the mic. I wish I had. I need to get this to work. I'm gonna go. "Ba, ba, 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 ba." Come on. That was fire. So good. So good. Mama Wolf says in the chat, love how you used your God given purpose to propel you through those
Yeah,
challenges.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
fact. That's a fact. I actually said that, said something similar in a video. Anyway, one of these videos, I said, if if you don't believe that whatever shortcoming that you have, God can't get you there, or
Yeah,
whatever your belief system is,
yeah.
whether it's some energy, some other deity, whatever it is, they can't get you to having the best life possible. Then one or
Mm-hmm.
two things needs to happen. Either you need to change your belief system, or
Mm-hmm.
you need to change, like, believe in it stronger.
Yeah, yeah,
One of the two.
yeah,
And you said it right. Mama Wolf said it right. You use that.
yeah,
You used
yeah,
it as
yeah.
a.
And don't focus so much on, everybody. There was a school of thought of like perfect your weaknesses, and get better and do this, and find out what you're not good at and make it better. No, no, no. Just worry about your strengths and worry about God putting the people in your life in place where
Hmm,
they can. So you might be an amazing baker and you make the most delicious cupcakes, cookies, and pies that anybody could ever want, but you don't know anything about running a business.
hmm.
Connect with people, build relationships with people, and let other people's strengths fill in that gap for you. Don't feel like I got to figure all of this out by myself. I always encourage people, and the reason why I have been so successful is you lean into community, you
Hmm.
lean into the people around you who, and not just in a way where you just take from them, but really position yourself so that you are one that people want to share with, they want to give with, because they see that light in you, they want to be a part of
Absolutely.
it. And so, and that's amazing. That's been one of the biggest blessings to me, is that I have such a dope network where people are just like, I want to do this for you because I see what you're trying to do. I see
Oh
that
yeah.
you're where you want to go, and I want to connect you with this person. I want to put you in front of this person.
Yeah.
And so that's been a blessing to me because that's gotten me in rooms that I could have never thought to be in.
And I know you giving shout outs to your network, which is great, but you my cousin, so I'm gonna change that. You have a dope you. Don't get it twisted. You have a dope because you are you. uh, People can go out and they can try to go get things,
Yeah,
or some people go out and they attract things.
yeah,
And the difference that I'm pretty sure everybody listening and watching can tell is that you have a nature that attracts people. You focused on yourself, you built yourself, you connected with God, let Him continue to give you the tools to build yourself. And now
mhm.
you've built yourself into the type of person that attracts the right type of people and the right kind of energy and all the right situations. I can
Thank you,
see it.
cousin. I
Jeffrey
appreciate you, cousin.
Jeffrey said you straight spitting.
Thanks, boo.
Mama Wolf said zigzag that thing, put it on a shirt. I love that. I love that. She also says, do you have any networking advice for introverts? That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. You know, what I have found, people who are introverts, they still have a circle, they still have a sense of community, and they still have people that they are close with. And I would say leverage your loud talking friend. I know you got one. You got one, and say, hey, and just and be, but you still have to be able to speak up for yourself, right? And so say, this is what I want, and say it out loud. Don't be afraid to everybody be like moving in silence and all this other stuff. I don't subscribe to that. I know some people do. I don't subscribe to that because when, like you said, when you want to attract something, it's like this is what I'm about. Can't anything that is for me that God has put in my place, can't nobody take it away. And so if you a hater, you're gonna be a hater. But that don't
Right.
mean I gotta be quiet about my blessings because you a hater.
There you go.
That's a you problem, not a me problem. So in terms of networking, I would just say, leverage your circle, the circle that you have, be outspoken about what you want, what you're trying to accomplish, and allow your friends, to advocate for you. Hopefully, you have people around you that say, "How can I help? How can I
Hmm.
support you? What do you need from me?" And then hopefully you have enough thought about what you want to accomplish that you can give them direction. Actually, friend, now that you say something, I do need you to share this post on social media. When you see me posting, it'd be really cool if you can go ahead and share it for me, spread it around, that sort of thing. And so I think that there's a way you can leverage the different personalities that you come across to enhance what you may believe is an introverted spirit. But really it's just, you're pretty tight to the vest on who you trust, and that's okay too.
That's dope. That's really good advice because a lot of people, when you think about networking, the first thing you think about is going out and meeting people you don't know,
Yeah,
going
yeah,
out and talking to people you don't know. When what
yeah.
you're saying is, well, start with the people you do know, even if it's
Mhm.
two or three people. You might have some gems right there
Yeah.
that you just haven't, you
That
know.
know two or three people that know two or three people.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly. No,
Yeah.
that's great. That is really great advice. Okay, so I was gonna go to corporate, but I'm gonna be honest. All the bars, the zigzagging, the shirts you
I had bars
making.
for days. It don't
I
matter what
mean,
the conversation going.
come
So
on, come on, come on. So because of that, though, I gotta put you on the spot. I need to know top 5 rap artists of all time. I don't care if it's female, male, old school, new school. Need to
uh,
learn, no. I burn, baby, burn like disco inferno. Whatever it is,
I
I
would
need to
say
know the top 5. Talk to me.
J. Cole is
J.
one.
Cole. Mm.
D Smoke is one.
D Smoke.
Um, I would consider Lauren Hill one of my favorite MCs. I think she's
Fire.
super dope.
Fire.
Um, I come up with two more.
You could do it.
Um,
You could do it. J.
Kendrick,
Cole, D
Kendrick
Smoke.
Lamar for sure.
Okay. Kendrick.
Um, and you know what? I honestly I really like Lil Wayne and early stuff. Like he was so smart, and I don't know. They say Lil Wayne was writing all this stuff, but he was just lyrically like super dope the way he put stuff together. And I'm like, God. So is that five?
Hold on. Who was it? I missed it. Who was the
Lil
last one?
Wayne, Lil Wayne,
Oh,
um,
Wayne. Wayne.
yeah, J Cole, Kendrick Lamar, D Smoke, Lauren Hill.
Okay, now D Smoke. Who is D Smoke?
He is from California. That's crazy.
That's so crazy. And even more crazy because I'm like, hold on, hold on. he's in the top 5 with the likings of
Yes.
Cole, Kendrick, Lauren. Like, how do I
Well,
not know?
he's very multifaceted. He
Mhm.
raps in do you know what's his brother? Um oh Jeff, I don't know Jeff. But anyway,
These,
he was on the show. I don't know if you remember that show on Netflix that T.I., Cardi B, Chance the Rapper did.
yeah, yeah, I saw that.
That rapping competition.
Yep.
So he won. But he's from LA. He sounds almost
Oh,
a lot like Kendrick Lamar too. But his style is very similar to his. But yeah, sir.
got it.
This
You
is
know
what
what? I I now that I see him, I do remember him. But what's crazy, Jeffrey says, "Sir,
because he
um,
you know what he was I asked him who his brother was. That's his brother. His brother is
I was
an artist as well.
got you." And real quick, Mama Wolf said, "You were talking, so I didn't bring this up, but leverage your loud talking friend." She said she loves that. That is a great one.
Yeah.
That is a great one. Like maybe you ain't the loud one, but you got a friend
Yeah.
that a girl, you gotta meet my look. She'll
Yeah.
do all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'll do
Yeah.
all that. All
Yeah.
right. So I do remember D Smoke.
But I
I
know
didn't know that he won though.
he did win,
I didn't know that.
and he's done a bunch of tours and shows as well. He got he's pretty dope. I'm surprised you hadn't heard of him because he is very California. So
Right.
even his videos, but like check him out if you look at his YouTube and some of his videos he's done. He raps in Spanish sometimes. He plays
Yep. I did
instruments,
hear him do that.
all that stuff. He is just
37.
very, very dope. So one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's on Empire Record. Like I really gotta check him out. I remember watching him on that show. I remember that Latino rapper. I remember when he battled some chick
Yes,
and he
yes,
beat her, but I must not have watched it to the end. I must not have, but
yeah,
I'll be honest, I'm pretty jaded when it comes to music competitions, just from being in LA, being behind the scenes on those things. It's like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I see him come up and I'm like, yeah, right, okay.
yeah.
Matter of fact, let me tell you, before I even got into um into Hollywood so much so that I knew the back end, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like the behind the scenes stuff. So let me tell you the competition show that completely killed me ever trying to audition for a competition. It was put on by the likes of Missy Elliott.
Mm,
Do you even recall a Missy Elliott competition show on TV?
I don't.
Exactly, because it didn't ever happen. So
Oh,
she's going around, and I love Missy. Shout out to Missy. This ain't on her. She wasn't even there. It's her little cronies. So she, so they're having auditions. I'm so him back then. I'm so like feeling myself, and I know that it's just a matter of time for me. They're having auditions in Houston.
mm,
Like you at the time, I ain't got the money for no plane ticket to Houston,
yeah.
but I got enough gas money. I jumped in the whip. I drove from LA to Houston
Wow.
just to audition. I wait in line, had to be like 4 hours, probably felt longer out there in the Houston heat. I finally get inside the building. Do you know that I stood there? Matter of fact, I forgot to tell you, it was dancing. It was a dance
Mm,
competition.
mm, mm-hmm,
What wasn't rapping? It was a dance
mm-hmm,
competition. As Missy, right? So
mm-hmm,
and then that was one of the vehicles that I came to LA on.
mm-hmm,
Dancing, rapping, right?
mm-hmm.
They brought us in. I stood in the line of like 10 people. They I didn't even dance. They were like, okay, all of you except for you can go. We have enough something, guys, or
Mm.
something, some at a certain point they're just looking for representation of
Yeah, yeah.
different looks of people.
Aesthetics. Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so, and that was it. And I drove
Mm.
back home. I was like, never again.
Wow.
I've been practicing. I've been dancing to Missy songs.
Wow.
I'm in the hotel room working on freestyle moves. I'm like, I'm ready to body this
Oh
moment.
man.
I didn't even get to bust a count one, nothing.
Wow. I'm sorry, cousin.
It's all good. It's all good. It's
I'm
all good.
sad
I
for
still
you.
love Missy. I still love you, Missy. Um, but that's fire. That's fire. Great list. Great
Yeah.
list. J. Cole, D Smoke, Lauren Hill, Kendrick Lamar, Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Great list. Great list.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got your doctorate,
Yeah.
right? Long before you got your doctorate, you're already in the corporate world. I
I'm
know.
already in the corporate world.
But what changed for you in the corporate world once you became Dr. Nikki Smith? Because you've been in the corporate world forever at this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what changed?
Yeah. So, I was a senior VP at Wells Fargo when I was like 27, 26, 27. So that gives you a hint on like how fast my
Oh yeah.
career was going.
Oh yeah.
And then I decided that I wanted to get into, yes, Mama Wolf, the coins were coming, six figures in my 20s, okay? Give me them. And they say, well, it
Facts.
was cool, right? Because cost of living is low. I mean, I'm balling
Right.
out now.
Right. You balling out. You ain't got no kids. You ain't got no. You like, hey, the world is
Yeah,
my oyster.
yeah.
I'm about to
So
buy a Chick-fil-A now. I ain't even. I
right,
might. I might buy one.
franchise me, okay? No, but so
Oh,
I
good.
decided to get my doctorate because, like I said, I wanted my career after my career. Like after I retired from corporate, I wanted to be a professor,
Hmm.
and you need to have a PhD basically for kind of be a tenured professor. And so it really wasn't for my corporate career, but I wanted to be in alignment with what I was doing because I knew I was going to have to write a 300-page dissertation, and there got to be something I could talk about for 300 pages.
Yeah.
And so that thing was the thing that I was doing every single day, which
Mm,
I'm in the tech space. I'm in innovation strategy, tech innovation, that sort of stuff. I do a lot of research
fire.
and design. Is the space that I'm in, and so as far as what the doctorate did, so it took me a while to get done with that thing. It was expensive and it was grueling. It was very, very difficult. It was like it took mental, emotional, physical. It was all in. It was really hard
Yeah.
to get through. So I got through it, especially during COVID. So I got through it, finished in 21. So just 2 years ago, actually.
Yeah.
And I think what it did, it got people, because I walk into a room and I'm in tech. There ain't no black women in where I'm
Mm,
1%. Okay.
mm.
So in my entire department of 145 people, I am the only black senior leader in my department and
Wow.
only one of two other black folks. One of
Wow.
them is a woman. And that's
Let's
just
give it up for that. Let's give it up. Make some noise. Make some noise real quick for that.
And so, I think what it did was got people, it makes people curious because I look young
Yeah.
and I'm running an
Like
entire
13,
department.
14.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
baby face. So I'm running an entire department, and
Right.
people look at me and like, who are you looking at? And the doctor gives me a little bit more authority.
Yeah.
And it's not because they even know what it means or know what the doctorate is for. They don't care. It's just like, oh, Dr. Nikki, you must be smart because you look
Right.
like you're 13. So you
Right.
got
Immediately. Yeah. Yeah. Respect that.
yeah. And so, and also it gave me a little bit of leverage. I left Wells, went over to another company for still in the investment space. I was in investments for a while, and now I'm at a new company and large company, global, all over the world, 90,000 people, and it just gave me a little bit of leverage in terms of how much money I asked for. So
Yeah.
that was that. Got the top of the range on that one, and so yeah, I think that's I think but also, a lot of the consulting that I do. So I do some consulting. I also do a lot of community events, workshops for women,
Mm,
helping them advocate for themselves on getting the salaries that they want. How do you
mm,
negotiate your pay? How do you prepare yourself for your next level in your career? I do a lot of like community based, specifically for Black women and Black men, around St. Louis. And so that gives me, little, oh, Dr. Nikki, you must know what you're talking about kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
that
going
makes
to be
sense.
selling out because they think I'm real, real smart. So usually buy a ticket. I want to hear from you. So
Right, right, right.
yeah, so that's what he's done.
No, that's awesome. Like, people, you kind of touched on it, and sadly to say that often when you hear the story, like the corporate and the education background that you have, you
Hmm.
don't expect that when the mask is revealed of who that person is, for them to look like you. Often it's not a black woman.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I'm pretty sure as a black woman, there's, there's some hurdles that you had to deal with that you saw others didn't have to deal with.
Hmm.
There are some things that you had to probably be vocal about, and some things you had to be quiet about. Like how
Hmm.
did you navigate this corporate space, especially getting into higher up leadership,
Yeah.
being a black woman, knowing when I need to kind of pull back and silence my
Yeah.
blackness just a little bit, and when you need to hear about this.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that I appreciate is the duality of people, and like you don't have to, again, like I said, fit in a box or stay in a lane. I can represent exactly who I am. How I'm talking to you today is how I talk in meetings.
Hmm.
Sometimes worse. No. And so I had to grow into the courage to be me, the
Yeah.
courage to be authentically me. But once I had mentors, and I had a lot of mentors, so always get you one. But once I got me some really a solid board of directors, I call it Nikki's board of directors, and it's like, I got a white man, a black man, I got very diverse board of directors, and these are people
Nice.
that I go to for perspective, for advice, and they coach me, and I take the feedback because I'm not, I want to get better. And so I'll give them a scenario. They'll kind of walk me through how to navigate it. Oh, watch out for this, watch out for that. Regardless of what, you can be yourself, but also know you got to politic a little bit, right? You got to,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of these men in these higher positions, they got a little ego about them. And so making sure you're navigating all of that, not stepping on any minds, in terms of like something that's going to blow up in your face later on. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, but you also want to be honest about
Yeah.
what you want and who you are. And so it's such a balancing act in terms of navigating these spaces. Specifically, I'm a leader of a team. So I have to not only advocate for myself, but I advocate for the people who report to me and make
Mm.
sure they have the opportunities that they desire. What do they want in their career path, and how can I support them as well? And so, I can, and they people appreciate people who are genuine. You see a lot of people tend to posture. They tend to put on what they think they should act, how they think they should speak, how they think
Yeah.
they should answer the question.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that everybody sees through it. They tell
Mm.
you, put it, just
Great
lie
point.
on your
Just
resume and fake it in the interview and you'll get the job. No, they see it. They see it
yeah. Yeah.
100% of the time. And so, and it always comes out. And so when people, especially when you get to this level, they appreciate people who are genuine and real and authentic in a way. Still, you got to politic because you got to do it in a way that's not offensive to
Of
them,
course. Of course.
which can be a little exhausting because what you mad about now today? God, I ain't getting there. But you can still do it in such a way where you stay true to who you are and not feel like I have to show up or posture myself in a certain way, and I got to keep this mask on all the time because that then gets exhausting. Or I don't feel like I belong here, what we call imposter syndrome. I don't claim it. I don't suggest anybody else claim it. There is no such thing. If you in the room, you're supposed to be there. Okay,
Mm.
there's no imposters. But people
Yeah.
feel it. But what people don't realize is we feel like as black women and as black men that we are the only people feeling this. That white man insecure just like you are. We all.
Oh, talk about it.
And so when you
Talk
realize
about
that,
it.
when you realize they got the same insecurities and
Yeah.
problems and all that stuff that you got, then it's like, and you, if you sit back and listen, they ain't as smart as you think they are. Yeah, they VP, senior VP, some, they ain't as smart as you think they are. So you sit back and listen to them talk themselves in a little circle, and you'll be like, hold on, like I know more than you. Okay, cool.
Talk to
Now
them.
I can
Talk.
show up. Now time because now I know what you really about. You done showed yourself. So
Woo!
their ego and people get around and they get all hung up on their titles and who
Yeah,
they are and all of that other stuff. And it's because they don't know nothing. So,
right.
so once you
I'm with Mama Wolf. Preach.
yeah, because once you see people as people, they just
Yes,
another human being. They
just
got no
another
more
human
power
being.
over you than anybody else. Anybody can walk up on the side of the street to you. That this person don't mean nothing to you. Yes, they can have some influence in your livelihood, and there's a little bit there, and that's what makes people scared. But also know these people are just people. If you know you're doing what you're supposed to do, you know you're talented, beautiful, you know that you are. Um, you're smart and capable and all those things, then lean into that. Believe that every day. Believe that
Absolutely,
it's true and show them that it's
absolutely.
true.
Okay, Mama Wolf in the chat said, pass the collection plate around."
You get tithes and offerings going around.
we will accept your tithes and offerings now. Earlier, I put it on the screen, but for anyone on the audio broadcast, Mama Wolf in the chat said, "That's a fact. No black executives at my organization, period, let alone a black woman. You occupy a very exclusive space, a very lowly populated space. So you talked about how you deal with that on the outside, but how does that affect you on the inside? Because I'm pretty sure as you're walking this tightrope, if you will, and trying to politic and placate to everyone's whatever's securities and all those other things, you also recognize when other people don't have to do that.
Yeah.
When other people don't have to walk as thin of a
Mhm.
tightrope as you do. So how does that make
Yeah.
Nikki feel when she's back at home just being Dr. Smith?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't take it home with me.
Mm,
So, and it's difficult to do because when you love what you do and you're passionate about it and you actually care about your work, it's very difficult to kind of leave it where it's at. And I work from home. I work right here. I'm at work and I leave the room and go sit on the couch.
there you go.
And so I feel it here.
Yeah.
But I would say, I don't know that it's in fact affected me as internally because of the mentors that I have and because they gave me the foresight of what to expect. I'm
Mm,
prepared. When you're prepared, you're not nervous.
this is true. That's
And
really good.
so I'm prepared for what's ahead
That's really
because
good.
I've had people pour into me, because
Yeah.
I've had people coach me and give me the game. And I've asked for it. And I've asked for the criticism too. I ain't just telling them to give me compliments and tell me how great I am. Tell me where I need to grow. Tell me where I need to stretch myself. Tell
Nice.
me if I'm being whiny, if I'm being immature or childish in my approach. Like really, really keep it all the way real with me because I want to be better. And when you are of a growth mindset, then some of that stuff that you're facing externally, what people might want you to believe about yourself, you don't internalize.
Mm,
Because I know something different and I'm
yes.
prepared for whatever you got to throw at me. And so, because of that, it's easy for me to kind of compartmentalize those
Yeah.
things and really internalize it. Like, you can say what you want to say, I know I'm the bomb. And I show it. And not only do I know it, you can see in my work I'm the bomb. So until you can debate that. If you're gonna say,
Yeah. Yeah.
debate the work, but you
Yeah.
can't, so be quiet. No.
So can everybody listening, can you hear it now? Do you understand why I introduced her as my favorite little cousin? Do you get it now? Like you might have been like, oh, maybe he's just throwing words around, but by now you're like, oh, okay, I get it. This is just she's like my favorite little cousin too now. That's what you're thinking.
Everybody thinks
That's what you're thinking. I'm gonna change your name
Mama
up
Smith
here.
about to adopt me.
Right. I'm gonna change your name to Dr. Nikki Smith, everybody's favorite little cousin.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like,
Well, that is incredible. You are clearly prepared for the job, ready for the job,
yeah,
and executing it at at a level that I know plenty of people walking around hating about. And that's when
yeah,
you know that you must be doing something right.
yeah. And you know what's so crazy is that a lot of people talk about the hateration that you get at this level
Mhm.
and how many people gonna try to attack you and be against you and pull you down and lie on you and blame you for things. Quite honestly, I haven't experienced that. I
Mm.
haven't experienced it to the extent of I felt like someone was purposely trying to come up against me in a very deliberate way. And I haven't experienced a circle of friends or people around me who were haters or
Mm.
made me feel a way about myself. And so maybe it's the attraction thing or not.
Yeah, yeah,
But when because I have such a love for people and I'm willing to stick my neck out and support you, and I'm not just another black woman at the highest level, and I feel like everybody else got to struggle because I had to struggle to get there and all this other stuff. Because some people get like that, some
yeah.
black women get like that, like all of a sudden it's like, well, I made it to this level on my own merit. Did you? You ain't had
Did you?
you ain't had nobody helping you. All right, so you don't want to help nobody. Okay, fine.
Okay, all right.
But I'm not like that, and so because of that, you can't help, you can't hate on me when you need me. So because
Mm.
I'm willing to help you get where I'm at, it's like I can't even be mad at you,
I can't
sis.
even be mad.
Let me schedule a consultation with you because I can't even be mad at you. I'm trying to be like, and so but
Yeah.
you have to position yourself as one that's not going to be looking down on folks who think because I made it to this level, I'm better than y'all, or you got this air about you, where it's like all of a sudden you forgot you was broke working at Jack in the Box. I'm never gonna forget. I'm never gonna
Mm.
forget. And
There
so
you go.
because of that struggle is top of mind for me. I'm willing to say I understand your situation because I was there. I understand not everybody know how to put together a resume. I understand not everybody know how to interview, but I can help you
Yeah,
if you're willing to accept the help,
yeah.
and so because of that, I don't get people that's like hating on me for trying to derail my plans or anything like that. They just like, I'm trying to get on board with you. Now you will have people trying to ride the coattails a little bit,
Of
but
course, of course. That's what they're supposed to do, though. That's what they're supposed to do. Look at every whale in the ocean. They ain't alone. There's always some plankton, some little fish that's right
yeah,
there. Some sucker. It's got to be.
yeah,
That's got to be. The bigger
yeah,
you get, that's how it go. All right. So we went into the corporate world. Now, I know that even though you work from home, the corporate world has to be taxing,
it is.
right? It
It
has
is.
to
I think
have
it's
its
an
day.
office skill sometimes. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like just exhaustive, just living through it, dealing with it. It's like, oh, you see the phone number to come in or to see your
Yeah.
calendar alert pop up with that meeting. You're like, oh, forgot about this today. Here we go.
Hmm.
But balance is key.
Yeah.
And when you walk out of that office and go back to the rest of the house, there's a there's a little man that provides you some balance.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
let's,
My
let,
nephew. Yeah.
let's talk about Lil Neff. How has he been? How does he help you? Because I know he helps you in his own
Yeah.
little way.
So he helps because it in he has a different layer of complexity to my life.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that situation, he has such a spirit about him. He's so excited about life. He has so much to look forward to, and he's so curious about things. He'll ask me, why, TT? Why do I need to do that? And I'll tell you why, baby. Because I'm not of the camp like don't be asking all these kids curious. Ask them
Yeah,
why.
especially
But let me
nowadays.
tell you
Yeah.
something. All these kids on TikTok, they got YouTube. TT, let me get your phone so I can go on Snapchat. They're and if they don't have it or access to it, the kids at daycare do, the kids at school do, and so his natural curiosity
Yeah.
helps me to make sure that I'm focused on his development as a human being. This is going to be a grown man one day.
One day.
I think people forget that
They
kids
do.
grow up to be grown
Oh
up.
my goodness. I always say you'll always hear a girl say, I want to have as many babies as possible. You'll never hear a girl say, I want to have as many teenagers as possible.
Right,
They ain't
right,
gonna say that because they're not thinking about that part of it. Like
right.
these are gonna be, they ain't gonna be just these little cute, don't
They're
do
gonna be
nothing
grown
babies.
up. And you have to give them the skills,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to emotional intelligence and social
Mm,
intelligence, how to navigate people who are different from them. Don't point at that kid in a wheelchair, or don't do this, or don't, say
yeah.
some of those things. And so you make them more aware of the people around them. But anyway, he's helped me because he has such a curiosity for the world and such a kind of zest for life.
Yeah.
He's definitely an explorer, and so he keeps me being adventurous.
Yeah. Which is good because sometimes disconnecting
Yeah,
from work life sometimes can be the hardest thing. But
yeah,
kids, especially an adventurous, explorative, inquisitive child, will they demand, okay, now you focus on me.
yeah.
You it's
Now
hard to
you're
think about
doing
all the meetings that just passed when I'm asking you why 700 times. It's like
yeah.
I gotta give you my all now.
hmm
And
hmm
all right, so I think maybe the last thing I want to really touch on because I know that there needs to be a growing awareness for this more and more because people hear this word. Some people know about it more than others. Some people don't. Some people have someone close to them that might be dealing with it. But out of
hmm
everything that you've heard, and when I say you, I'm talking about the collective listeners, you've heard Dr. Nikki Smith talking about today through poetry and working multiple jobs and getting into college multiple times all the way to getting a phd all the way to becoming the lady that she is, not
hmm
only in her community with helping others but also in a corporate world leading a team. She did all of this with lupus.
Lupus.
With lupus.
Mm. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Jeff will tell you, sometimes I be in the house crawled up in a little ball because I'm
Yeah.
hurting and all the things. Yeah, yeah. So for those who don't know, lupus is an autoimmune disease in
Yeah.
which my immune system attacks itself in my muscle tissues and major organs and things like that. There's like three different kinds of lupus. One specifically that it is within your nervous system, one that is around some of your major organs. So you'll see people have common issues with their heart, lungs, kidneys, those sorts of things. And then one specifically is around, your skin, and you'll see people who have an allergy to sun, sunlight flares up their skin, things like that. Or you can have a combination of the three in any regard. You can have different symptoms that kind of cherry pick from those three buckets. But yeah, so got diagnosed with lupus in 2000, May of 2009. So it's been a little while that I've been dealing with it and processing. I was sick for a long time, having a bunch of different issues. So I was an athlete in high school, and then my senior year, I started having some health complications, and it took a long time for them to kind of figure out what it was. A lot of testing because lupus is hard to diagnose. It can look like a lot of different things.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard I heard that they said lupus is like I forgot the word they
Copycat
use.
disease.
Yeah, yeah, the copycat disease, and it can like
hmm
kind of show itself as a lot of different things. I also didn't know that it was mainly women that got it. Like
Women,
like
women
like
of color.
nine to one ratio.
Yeah.
Mainly it's women.
Yeah, mainly women of color, specifically Black, Hispanic, and Asian. I guess that's all women of color. And then it is, and young women too. I think anywhere between 18 and 25 has like the largest kind of population of women with lupus, or typically young women, or diagnosed, I would say, early in life.
Right. And so
Yeah.
there's no cure for lupus yet.
No cure for lupus. So, there's issues in which I'll get my blood vessels are swollen, or I get inflammation in my chest walls, or, there's an issue. I might get blood clots, fatigue, skin abrasions, all kinds of stuff. And so it can get really scary. It looks sometimes you feel like you have arthritis in your joints hurt, your body literally hurts. And being out in the sun and the heat can cause a flare up as well. Stress can cause a flare up as well. You can imagine
Yeah.
me going through a PhD and working full time. Working full time. The level of stress that I went through.
Sheesh. I
Um,
can only imagine.
yeah, so yeah, dealing with that, I've had some issues, with my kidneys. I've had some issues with my heart. Um, you know, Diet and things like that certainly help. Staying active certainly help. Um, yeah, but there's no cure, so I'm on this ride for a while. And there's been instances in which lupus can be so severe that you go through certain types of chemotherapy treatments. It's not chemo like a cancer patient's chemo. It's a little bit different, but it's used to slow down your overactive white blood cells that are attacking your body. So that's what the
Wow.
chemo is doing. But yeah,
And see, that was, when we used to talk about it, I didn't really understand how painful
yeah,
that
yeah.
lupus
Yeah.
was until I started to do a little more research into it. And matter of fact, there's a battle rapper. I know people that listen to the show is like, he's always bringing up a battle rapper. Well, I watch battle rap, okay? Um, there's a battle rapper. His name is Jack Boy Maine, right?
Mhm.
He's from Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, and he struggles with lupus, and so he's
Mhm.
had to back out of a few events. You just said something that was interesting when you said their blood vessels might be swollen,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So this is him in a battle recently, and people kept talking about um, how he was so veiny in certain times,
Mhm. Mhm.
like I mean his veins. I'm watch just because of the timing that I chose. I'm not gonna catch it, but whether it be like in his chest and his stomach, I mean you could really see that. See like his
Mhm.
veins going into
Mhm.
his shoulders. I mean, there's
Mhm.
been times I've seen him battling, and while the other person is rapping, he's like just kind of bent over, breathing, trying to catch his breath, and then
Mhm.
he'll say later on, like, "Yeah, this I was having like a flare up,"
Mhm.
and I mean he kind of almost says it in like a temporary sense, like it kind of comes in a wave, not
Yeah.
so much like it lasts for days. So, do you experience things of that nature where it's like you just kind of have this flare up moment and you just basically wait for the wave to pass, and that's just kind
Yeah.
of life of it?
Yeah, the flare up for me, honestly, it could last. I mean, your flare up could be 20 minutes or 2 weeks, or I
Hmm,
could be down bad for a minute.
hmm,
So that could, yeah, definitely, one of the things too is fatigue. You're extraordinarily tired all the time. So fighting through that and trying to accomplish things, I mean, it could be very difficult. And then too, people don't really understand the danger in which if I were to get sick. When I got COVID, that was very scary. It
yeah,
was very
yeah,
scary for me because my body can't fight it off, right? My
yeah,
body is already attacking itself
attacking
in its
itself.
normal state. Imagine if I got sick, now it's all confused, right? And
Yeah,
so
that was
that
really scary.
that was really scary. And I've actually had someone pass away who got COVID a couple, during 2020 and passed away, a young lady my age.
Hmm,
And so, that sort of thing, lupus fog, where you forgetful and forget things. It's kind of like you just get dizzy and hazy, and you don't know what you was doing. So that affects me sometimes as well. But yeah, it's extraordinarily painful, and you just don't know when it's gonna happen because it's triggered by so many different things. It's like you just don't know. So
it affects you, but doctor, it has not kept you down by far.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if anybody else knows someone with lupus or is at least close enough to it to really know it or understand it. But imagine all the things that we've talked about during this podcast today, dealing with something that makes you tired at times, that makes you exhausted, that gives you
Mhm,
brain fog, that has you not knowing what you were thinking in that moment, that makes you just
mhm,
want to curl up for the rest of the day and not do anything. And
mhm.
then listen to the story of Dr. Nikki Smith. If this is not a triumph story for not only black girls, girls period, young people that have gone through trauma, someone living with lupus,
Mm-hmm.
someone not having a whole lot of money. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
someone from a small town. I mean, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
You name it. You stand as a champion for so many groups of people.
Thank
And that
you.
and as I see Mama Wolf says that you are one tough cookie.
Thank you.
I do
Thank
not disagree. Dr. Nikki Cousin Smith.
you. My
you
favorite
you you did touch on some of the work that you do for people around St. Louis and helping them professionally kind of get to the next level if they
cousin.
want to accept your help. Um, do you do any work like that for lupus, for awareness, for cures, for anything of that nature?
I don't. I do like the lupus walk and things like that. But not for lupus specifically. I am president of a nonprofit called Good Journey Youth Development. Life is a journey. Let's make it a good one.
Mm,
So if you're interested in learning about that organization, is good GOOD journey.org. And so I have the privilege and honor of being the president of that nonprofit, specifically around the development of young people in our community, giving them the tools to realize their potential, realize their talent, realize their brilliance.
that's
Um,
awesome.
and there's a lot of like STEM programming, arts and education programming. We have a summer leadership academy. We a couple years ago we took a group of 20 young people to Ghana,
Wow.
and so it's very phenomenal, local to St. Louis, but doing some very great work. And so I stay busy doing
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And so we have a bunch of like all this programming we have, and then we have like a community garden and all, and it's rooted in Black awareness as well. So very Black centric programming.
Wow.
And so you can tell if anybody watching, I am blackity black all the time.
Blackity black. Don't get it twisted. Don't
Oh,
get it
that's right.
twisted. Blackity black.
My house is a black art museum. Okay, you just come around, there's black art everywhere.
Hey, they better know it. They
They
better
really
know
know.
it.
So yeah, so that's some nonprofit work that I'm involved in, and I do a bunch of different things. I'll help out around the community, but as you can imagine, my day is pretty long, and my nights are pretty long. So yeah.
Yes, it is. Do you remember any of your poems?
Nope.
I feel like you just said no because you know you know what I'm gonna say next.
I
That
do
was
not
smart.
remember none of them. I don't
That
even think I wrote any poems. I think you just made that up.
was good. That was good. I was trying to decide how do I set it up so she don't see it coming. But I'm like, I didn't want to just say, okay, we're gonna end it with a poem, and then you're like, I don't remember that. It's like, oh, okay. But okay, all right. That's
Oh,
pretty
see, I
good.
never wrote anything.
Well, Dr. Nikki Smith, everyone's favorite little cousin, I appreciate you being here today. I appreciate you sharing your story, your amazing journey, and your continued accomplishments.
Thank you.
Um, this has been super fun. Everything that Nikki Smith has talked about today, I will make sure that any of the links are in the description so that you all can be a part. Join in. Hit her up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
And,
she.
and and also like I'll send you the link as well. Like I said, I do consulting. If you are of someone, no matter where you are in your career, and you want to just say, or if you are a business owner, say, hey, I need some feedback on my business strategy, or I'm trying to scale my business to the next level, or even if you're a person that's running a team, how do I get my team all working together? And talking to each other, or I'm trying to get to the next level in my career. How do I make sure I'm paid an equal salary and all those things? Schedule a consultation with me, and I'd love to talk to you. So.
There you go. There you go. I put it up already, but I'm gonna put it up again because I read it different the second time. Like me knowing who Jeffrey is, the first time I read this, I was like, yeah, she never quits. She's a tough kid. She's a tough cookie. Yeah. The second time I read it, when I noticed who it was, I was like, yeah, and she never quits. I'm like, babe, can we have a date night or something? Like, can you?
One laptop, look, we having two. Like I got one in front of me and one over here. Computers everywhere.
You're like, no, seriously, Cash. She never, ever quits.
Always working.
All right, little cousin. I love you so much.
I
Thank you again for being here, sweetheart.
Absolutely.
Everybody, this has been episode 13 of the Pod is Good podcast with Dr. Nikki Smith. Dr. Pod is Good.
Oh shoot, all the time.
There she goes. She got it. And all the time.
Pod is good.
There it is. There it is. All right, y'all. We'll catch you on the next.